Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Maddie here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a deck that actually performed really well in a recent online tournament. It's Dragonite, something a little bit more unexpected. It went, I think, 5-3 or 6-2 in a recent online tournament, but we're playing it with Greninja and Druddigon, sort of that Greninja Druddigon package that we've seen in a lot of decks, namely particularly most common Gyarados EX. It's a really good combination, so it makes a lot of sense to pair it with Dragonite. Basically, the combination of Water Shuriken and the Rough Skin ability from Druddigon whittles down our opponent's Pokemon just a little bit to make it that much easier to take KOs with Draco Meteor. So this is definitely a high roller deck. I would say it's not super based around consistency, a lot of evolution Pokemon, a lot of Pokemon in the deck in general, but if we draw all the right cards we want to, similar to Charizard, we are exceptionally strong and can take down basically anything in the format. It's really good. So yeah, 14 Pokemon in deck in total, just the full Greninja, Druddigon, and Dragonite line. We have 2 Pokeball, 2 Research, 2 Leaf, kind of just the essentials as far as supporter cards go. And then we're running just Water and Electric Egg type energies. It's not really worth it for us to run Fire Energy to be able to attack with Druddigon. It would make sort of the Dragonite and you know, Greninja setups a little bit less consistent, so we're not really ever attaching to Druddigon, or attaching with it rather, and attacking, so it's not necessarily something worth doing per se. So only Water and Electric Energy. It's not a crazy tricolor deck. I think the deck is better just running the 2 energies for sure. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's play some matches. I was really surprised to see the results that this deck did in a recent online tournament. I was really surprised, but it does make a lot of sense. We'll see if we can draw pretty well and run into some good matchups and really showcase what this deck can really do. Let's do it, guys. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Dragonite with Druddigon and Greninja. Now, it's tough because on the ladder, like most people, at least in this format, have kind of settled into really the top decks. What you're going to see a lot of is, you know, a lot of Gyarados, a lot of Mewtwo, a lot of Celebi, a lot of Pikachu. So you've got to play decks at least that can contend. Now, I'm not saying that our deck is as strong or necessarily as consistent as those decks, but it does have really, really strong potential. So as long as our opponent doesn't draw perfectly, and as long as we don't draw necessarily really badly, we actually have a really good chance, I think, in most matchups in the game. Dragonite is really strong, and the Greninja Druddigon package is also really strong too. So there's always potential basically with our list, and that's something that I really like about Dragonite is you're never really out of it until the very end, because that Draco Meteor attack can absolutely go crazy. As we see, we're playing a Coughing or a Weezing and Scolipede deck, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm actually going to play Pokeball first because we already have 2 Dratini, so I would like to get our basic Pokemon out. As we see, it's a Froakie, so we have 2 Druddigon left in the deck. We have 1 Froakie as well left in the deck. Let's play the research now. Before we bench that second Dratini, there's the Druddigon, actually, and another Froakie, which is kind of cool. So here's the thing. We don't have a way to retreat out just yet here. I could commit the energy to the active Dratini. This is a good question here. What do we want to do? We could very well get attacked by Weezing next turn, so I don't think doing the active Dratini is probably like the smartest play. So I'm just going to bench this Dratini. I'm going to attach to it, and we're probably going to end up playing Research next turn. The thing is, we don't have X-Speed in the deck. We just have Leaf. So basically, like, if you don't already have Leaf in your hand, like, you like playing Professor's Research into Leaf, like, kind of feels bad, right? Because you can't play 2 supporters in 1 turn here. But let's see if we see the Weezing from our opponent. If so, we can just manually attach and just retreat out of the active if we need to. It does kind of make it so that we lose a turn, basically, on our... oh, there's the Frogadier, so that's good. Definitely good for sure. But let's go ahead. Let's play the Research. And it might be a scenario here. The pacing, at least, for... oh, and Dragonite and a Greninja. So no Dragonair yet. But I do think what I want to do is attach to the active Dratini and go into the Druddigon. I would rather us sort of not be in a position to where our opponent gets an early KO. I would rather him really fight for it. And I think the early damage pressure here from Greninja next turn, plus the Rough Skin on the Druddigon, is going to put our opponent at least in a position to where things are a little bit awkward here. So here we go. This Weezing, he's actually playing the new Weezing, which makes it so during our next turn, the defending Pokemon can't really attack. Oh, okay, so we're going to get brought in anyway, which is fun. Let's see here. I don't want to go, I'm not going to give him this Dratini. I don't want to get KO'd, and I don't want to really give him the other Dratini either. So I think we're just going to let him attack this this Greninja, or this Frogadier. I don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal here. We're going to live the hit, and then we'll just retreat out again. Maybe we draw into a Leaf, or a way to retreat out. We have 8 cards in deck, so we really have a 1 in 4 chance of actually drawing into the Leaf, so that's something to note. No Leaf, unfortunately. That is certainly a bit unfortunate, but let's go ahead. We can evolve this Greninja, And then I think what we're going to do is actually just attach to it yet again here, which doesn't feel super great. But yeah, we're going to go into the Druddigon. It's not poisoned, which is good. And then we're going to just Water Shuriken the active. And now, hopefully, if he doesn't have another Sabrina, we're kind of in a position to where, you know, our opponent is at least somewhat forced to attack this Druddigon, at least hopefully. And yeah. So we haven't drawn into any of our Leafs. I mean, both Leafs in our deck with 6 cards. We also have the Dragonair, both Dragonairs in our deck as well. So the 2 cards that we definitely could have used so far in this matchup are still in the deck, and that is certainly unfortunate. I think the other cards that we have here, as we see the potion come out, okay. I'm not super worried about that. This Druddigon's going to take 2 hits to get KO'd. Here comes the smoke screen. He's going to do 2 damage to himself. And like I said, this is not a terrible situation to be in here. Now, there's the thing. What I actually want to start doing is, because this Weezing is under the threshold, still no Dragonair, which is absolutely crazy here. And we're about to get a chain of 3 water energies in a row, which is not good. But I'm going to start basically Water Shurikening the Scolipede here. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to try to get the Scolipede under 100 HP so that when we Draco Meteor, we kind of increase our odds here to potentially take the KO on the Scolipede as well. This Scolipede isn't really a threat. He doesn't have anything to poison with us yet. He can hit us for 70. That is for sure something that can happen here. And we see a second potion from our opponent. With 8 cards in deck, we've seen 2 potions already from him, which is a little bit crazy, I'm not going to lie. Now, let's see here. Do we draw the Dragonair or do we draw the Leaf? That's kind of something that I'm most curious about personally. Now, the problem again here is that our Greninja has 70 HP, which is in range of getting KO'd by this Scolipede, which is tough, even though we're not poisoned. We draw into the Dragonair. So here's what we kind of have to do, actually. We're going to do this. We're going to evolve this. We're going to bench this Druddigon. Our opponent only has 1 prize, so let's go ahead. Man, we're getting another water energy. So that's 4 water energies in a row. That is extremely unfortunate for us. But yeah, we're going to have to stall out just a little bit longer here. We're going to Water Shuriken. I think we still target the... Oh, do we? Yeah, I think we still target the benched Scolipede. And then I think in a turn or 2, the active Weezing should be sort of maybe in range of the 50, right? Because we only need to put 2 more damage onto it. And he's going to have to attack this Druddigon at least once or twice. But we could see another Sabrina from our opponent. He's got 7 cards in deck, so we'll see here. But it's really unfortunate that we haven't gotten any electric energies off our energy zone. The odds of that is extremely low. But basically, yeah, we're going to be in a really awkward position here to the point that we basically need our opponent to... Okay, so there's a Dragonite. Still no Leaf, which is tough. So I was really kind of hoping for a Leaf. That way we would maybe at least be able to go into our Dragonite. But yeah, we're not really kind of functioning the way that we want. So this Druddigon is going to go down, really no matter which way we slice it here. So now since this Scolipede is at 100, I think probably the best thing to do here is to target the Grimer, because this Weezing is going to get hit, I think, no matter what. I think he's probably going to stay in with the Weezing. And then... Yeah, and then if he attacks the Druddigon with Weezing, then he goes down to 50 either way. So at least we're putting ourselves in at least somewhat of a position to kind of fix the math here. And this is where you can see, right, the combination of Druddigon and Greninja, we're kind of being able to selectively whittle down our opponent's Pokemon HP to the point where we're increasing the likelihood of taking these knockouts with our Draco Meteor attack. So it does seem like things aren't flowing super well for our Dragonite deck, but trust me, once we go into Dragonite, even if our opponent has already taken 2 KOs, and here comes the Mach, okay. This isn't terrible, again, like I said. I don't know why he's playing Mach, or okay, like, there's probably another Weezing there. Yeah, that does make somewhat sense. Okay, so here's the deal right now, right? Here's the deal. Man, this is interesting. Our Dragonite isn't getting KO'd, like, regardless, but he could have a second Sabrina, which does make things a little bit scary, in my opinion. Do we draw into the Dragonair here, though? Do we draw into the Dragonair? We do, okay. So that's actually fairly good for us. This puts Dragonair at, what, 100 or just 80 HP? Okay, so that is technically out of range from getting KO'd if we do get Sabrina. But here's the thing, right? So this Coughing is on the bench here. This could be scary because if this evolves into a Weezing, then potentially he could basically, you know, poison, retreat out, and then, you know, kind of do boosted damage with these Pokemon. So what I kind of want to do here is target this Coughing, put it at 50 HP, or under 50, yeah, 50 HP. So that way, maybe we have a chance of KOing that. And we are going to mention the Froakie if this game does come down to it, which hopefully it shouldn't. But now, unfortunately, this Muck is above 100 HP, but the Scolipede's at 100, the Coughing's at 50, and the Weezing is at 50. So we're going to just Draco Meteor here and hope that everything goes properly for us. See if we can take any KOs here. Okay, all right. I guess we're just going to target that Scolipede and do 200 damage to it. That's the funny... That's the funny part about Dragonite, is it's totally random. There's no way to know kind of where your damage is going to get put down, and that is certainly interesting here. But I think we're safe. I think we're just going to be taking an attack here. All right, we have another turn basically to attack no matter what, at least. So that's something. We at least have the odds. Okay, so he's actually going to bring in another Ekans. This guy's just running a ton of Pokemon all over the place here. We're going to attack with the Weezing, and then we're going to see here if we're going to have to flip a coin basically to see if our attack works. But actually we're not, and this might make this guy a little bit annoyed, but basically I'm not playing the flipping game. We're going to just leaf here. Oh, no, wait. We have a retreat cost of 3. I didn't even notice that. I thought Dragonite had a retreat cost of 2. It unfortunately does not. That is tough. That's tough for us. Not going to lie. Okay. That, again, puts us in a really awkward spot. For sure. But I guess we're going to have to just flip the coin here and hope that everything goes well. I don't think there's really anything else we can do. Let's go ahead and do this. And I actually kind of want to attach this energy to the Frogadier. And yeah, I mean, let's Draco Meteor. If we flip a heads, we flip heads. But if not, and then we flip a tails, unfortunately. Literally the one time we needed to flip heads in this entire game, we couldn't get it here. So if we lose this turn, which we very well could, based off of the fact that we do have a Poison Gas, Weezing, and a Muck on the board, this could be pretty bad for us. But if not, all we really have to do is flip heads, and then we can double Water Shuriken next turn, and hopefully put our opponent in a spot to where he can't necessarily win the game here. But I don't know if he can. Yeah, he's just gonna have to smoke screen again, doing a lot of damage for us. We're kind of in a spot now where we either win or we don't. I don't really think there's anything we can do here. If I'm being entirely honest. We only need to take 2 KOs here, and there's a Pokemon with 50 HP, and we can bring another Pokemon down to 50 as well. Now, Greninja has 120 HP, so we could bring in the Greninja and take a KO, but I'm pretty sure Muck, if we look at it, is doing 120 to poisoned Pokemon, so we can't. That's not a really viable option, I don't think, in our opinion. Or in my opinion, we kind of have to just hope to flip heads here. A double tails in a row with with a smoke screen on Weezing would be really bad. That would just be absolutely terrible luck here. But let's target the Muck. That way he doesn't necessarily have like a great KO option next turn. In fact, I don't even think he would. Oh yeah, he would still. But whatever. Let's just target the Muck. Put it at 50 HP. And yeah, we're kind of just hoping here that something happens off your Draco Meteor. Basically, the fact that we flipped tails last turn means that this is very unlucky for us. But what do we get here? We get the KO, guys. We did it. All right. So it only took an extra turn. Unfortunately, we got a little unlucky. They were flipping tails originally. But you know what? That happens sometimes. That's a very fun matchup. That's a very fun RNG deck. Our opponent just seemingly had like unlimited Pokemon. But the thing is, the difference in that game, really, even with the potions that our opponent played, was the Greninja Water Shurikens, which really added up. I mean, that we basically won the game because of that Greninja there in the late game. Both Greninjas, honestly. And the rough skin Druddigon. It really adds up. I think I forgot to say thanks to my opponent. Again, I always forget. I'm talking to you guys. I'm trying to make a video here. I always forget to thank Momo. Okay, let's play one more game with Dragonite. Let's do one more game. That one was pretty fun. Now, of course, that wasn't necessarily like a meta deck to any degree, but I thought it was a really fun matchup. Comment below what you guys thought of that game. That was certainly interesting. That was certainly an interesting one. But okay, so we are going first here. That's tough. We're going to be behind 1 energy, unfortunately. We don't start with a Druddigon. We start with a Froakie in the active spot. We have a Greninja and a Dragonair in hand. We have a Leaf, though, and a Pokeball. And it looks like we might be playing Blanes. So hopefully we don't get like super outpaced this game, because that would be pretty tough here. We definitely want to draw the things that we want to draw. Let's see. So we want to play Pokeball and then research for basically the maximum odds of like evolution Pokemon and other cards in our deck, or we could play research and then Pokeball to increase the odds of us to get a basic Pokemon. And I actually think that's probably the best case scenario since we don't have a Dratini or a Druddigon yet. So let's play research yet, and we draw double Pokeball into Druddigon as well. So we've gotten basically everything that we want to get going right now. There's a Dratini. One of each basic Pokemon in play, and let's just see sort of what this other Pokeball grabs us. I think we would kind of want 2 Druddigon on the bench. I think that's kind of the best scenario for our deck, just to keep it a little bit safe from Sabrina. Next turn, basically what we can do is start filling up and attaching energies rather to our Dratini, and then we can leaf into our Druddigon and kind of hope things kind of flow, you know, somewhat decent for us. But let's see. Our opponent's got the new Charizard, you know, accessories here with the mat and the sleeves and the deck box or whatever. So it's pretty cool. I'd like it. 20 damage to this Froakie. It really doesn't matter because we have the double Druddigon on our bench that we're gonna just retreat into. Drawing into another Froakie, it's not necessarily, that's not helpful for us really at all, but it could be in the late game, right? You never know. But yeah, we're gonna spend this leaf, excuse me, just to get into our Druddigon into the active spot. And yeah, so now our opponent is basically at this point almost forced to just attack into these Druddigons over and over again, which should whittle down his Pokemon. We would love to see a Dragonite draw or even double. Okay, so back-to-back research from our opponent here. Certainly very lucky draws for this Blanes player right off the bat, but shout out to him here. We did draw a research as well with 2 Pokeballs, so our luck hasn't been that terrible either, basically. And here comes the Charmander. So this is interesting, kind of a Charizard, maybe Blanes hybrid deck here. We do see the Rapidash. This is the Fire Main 40 HP one. Do we see Blanes here? Well, he played research, so we're not going to see the Blaine, at least. The other thing with this Dragonite deck is that Potion is actually pretty good. I do think that playing Leaf or some way to retreat is probably still better. It makes the deck flow a little bit more consistently, but overall, I think that Potion can be really good in this particular deck. Okay, so we draw into our research as well. I was talking about luck, but we are certainly getting somewhat lucky here with these draws, which is pretty good. We draw into another Dragonair and another Leaf, basically the only 2 cards in our deck that we didn't need. The 2 cards that we didn't care about. We really wanted a Frogadier or a Dragonite, but you know what? We're thinning the deck out at least. We only have 6 cards in the deck. At least we drew into our researchers early here as we see our opponent getting into this Charmeleon. He's already got 2 energies onto it. It's certainly a pretty... okay, and we got the Blaine, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, that our opponent would have the Blaine. He's also played 2 research. He only has 7 cards in the deck. So I wonder if he's playing 2 copies of Blaines. I kind of like wouldn't doubt it. We're also getting, again, 3 water energies in a row. We'll see here in a minute if we're even able to attack with Dragonite next turn. That would certainly be very unfortunate if we weren't able to, but there's our Dragonite. And nope, we're getting 4 water energies in a row, which the odds of that are actually like very astronomical. It's extremely unlikely for you to get 4 water energies in a row, basically, when you have a 50-50 chance of that happening. We're going to bench that second Froakie. At least now it's got full HP. And yeah, 5 cards in deck. Both of those are being Frogadier as well. And no electric energies means that we can't even attack with Dragonite next turn, which is really, really bad for us. And yeah, as we see the Charizard EX from our opponent, makes sense. I mean, he's getting only 6 cards in deck, but yeah, it's just very unfortunate. This whole scenario here, if we could attack with Dragonite next turn, we would actually be like not in a terrible position. But the fact is that we haven't drawn into our Frogadiers. We haven't been able to get into our Greninja yet, and we didn't draw a single electric energy by turn 4 is like wildly ridiculous. Like the odds of all of that happening is super, super low. So very unfortunate for us, but I am not counting myself out here. I think that there is still an opportunity to win this game. This Rapidash is going to take some damage. Now, here's the thing, like our opponent gets put into a position to where like he's either going to attack. Okay, so there's a Frogadier and 5 water energies in a row here. Okay, so literally like how is this even the case? We're like, this is crazy. This is actually crazy here. Like no electric energies. It's gonna be 5 in a row after this. What are the odds of that? I don't even understand. That's very, very unlucky for us. And here comes the second Blanes. He's just gonna literally just start smacking. Yeah, that's crazy. Like basically the fact that we didn't draw into electric energies like means we don't have a chance to win this game, because next turn, like if we had an electric energy, we would have been able to at least attack with Dragonite and potentially get a KO on a Moltres or a Charizard, because this Rapidash would have gotten knocked out. Like if you think about it, you know what I mean? Like literally we could have just won. There was still sort of the potential to do that. But unfortunately it just didn't really go that way. And we actually had another water energy on deck as well. So that's 6, I think, water. 6 water in a row is what we're looking at here. That's crazy. That's legitimately crazy. So I think this kind of boils down, I think this is a great match to show, because listen, like, Dragonite was strong and does have potential, as we saw in the last game. It can win. It's a really strong deck, but the downside being that because we're a multicolor energy deck and because Dragonite takes 4 energies, we're just inherently like less consistent. Like, there's no way to slice it. Like, Dragonite is just like, it can't be as good as the other top decks in the format. And the reason for that is there's just too much working against you. Like, it's a strong card, but like the fact is that it's even possible to go like 6 or 7 energies without even being able to attack when your attack cost is only 4 energies is crazy to me. But that's just the nature of Pokemon TCG Pocket. You know, that's the nature of, you know, how multicolor energy decks work. There's just nothing that you can really do to change it. But yeah, you know what, guys, I'm probably gonna end the video here. We did 2 matches at least with Dragonite. I could play more games, but again, I want to get this video out. I want to, you know, get it uploaded and at least showcased to you guys. But yeah, this Dragonite list is interesting. It has a lot of potential. It's certainly a high roller deck. If you get lucky throughout a series of matches, this Dragonite deck could honestly beat almost anything in the format. I really do believe that, but it's a little bit inconsistent, and I think that it's important to show with a deck like this, you know how consistent or inconsistent and the upsides and the downsides to, you know, every deck. And this deck in particular, I think there's a reason why Dragonite isn't a meta deck, but I do actually think this version of Dragonite rather has the potential to do well in online tournaments, as we saw basically with this list going you know, 5-3 or 6-2, whatever it was, at one of those large online tournaments recently. So very interesting as well. But I love Dragonite. It's a fun deck. Would I say that it's S tier? No. But you know what? I think maybe as, you know, more cards come out when this new expansion comes out, we might get more Dragon type support or more Dragonite support. I think would be really interesting for sure. But anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely like the video and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more videos. The support has been crazy over the last few weeks, and I really, really do appreciate it. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and we should be hitting 7,000 subscribers, like, you know, right around the corner, which is absolutely crazy. It's really exciting. So yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace out. Have a good one. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. I don't know how to end videos. So fade out. We're going to just fade. Peace.